Um, so have you heard this concept of FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out?
Yes.
So that's like a trendy word for jealousy, right? So when, uh, let's say you're a herd animal and the rest of the herd moves on, if you don't follow them, then you're alone, you're isolated, and then a predator is going to get you. So a herd animal has to constantly watch where others are and keep up with them. And even if you're in a great, nice patch of grass, you have to leave the good stuff and rush to be with the group, or else the predator's going to get you. So that feeling of I have to keep up with other people or else I'm going to be eaten by a predator, that's a very natural adolescent experience, right? And it's also sort of natural in a person's career that if you, quote unquote, don't know the latest, then people in your career will judge you. Oh my God, or you didn't know that blah, 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 So in that case, you're not doing it because you want to, you're doing it because of your fear of being separated from the herd, which is a natural fear that cuts very deep. So the solution for that person is first, to recognize that they're having this feeling, and then they could find other ways to feel connected. So it depends on whether that person is investing so much time in their online life and not spending any time face-to-face, or do they already have enough of a face-to-face life and they're just doing Facebook and it's like too much because they feel like you have to do it because everyone else is doing it. So I don't know if you have an opinion about whether people are neglecting their face-to-face life or not.
That's a very good question, actually, because that's another trend people jumping on. And I hear a lot people saying that social media making us very antisocial. And I really don't agree with that, to be honest, but I don't have data. So I wouldn't be able to say exactly this or that. But I feel that social helps me to connect with more people that I later meet in offline. But I do treat it as a tool. So personally, I wouldn't spend more time there than need to be. But I have noticed that in a lot of my conversations with business owners, they have a very similar problem with doing everything and jumping on all the trends. And we have to cut it down. And it's everyone so far, every single person I talk to. So nobody can just narrow down into one thing. They're grabbing everything, trying to help themselves to do better in what they're trying to do, neglecting really basic stuff. And most of the time, they don't need probably 80 or 90% of things they're doing.
You said they're doing so many things and they don't need to do all of them. Can you suggest which ones they can cut out?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of the times they're doing, say, email marketing when they don't have bigger database, for example, or they might be doing Facebook posting as well as Instagram posting, and Instagram still doesn't bring anything for them, but they can't quite attribute it either and figure out where people are coming from. A lot of the times people just need to improve their sales and then really worry about all the marketing stuff. Really depends, of course, on what stage of business they're at and what they do as well. But I've gone through a very similar process doing what I've been doing for 10 years now. I've started from trying everything, working in so many different areas, and then figuring out, hold on a second, that's killing my attention. I see it as a tool. And so I do, and sometimes I do feel overwhelmed too. And then I just shut it down and it's fine. And I think it's not something that's going to go away, but people keep arguing about it that, yeah, it's good for us, it's bad for us. Do you have a view on that? That's we should be using it, it's good, or look, maybe just shut it down?
Well, first I have to say that people with that crisis mentality, often they're talking about kids and they're suggesting like young people. And probably you've seen like images or in real life of like a 2-year-old child with a cell phone. And so the idea that kids will not be taking social risks and building face-to-face bonds because it's so easy to default to the online. That's one side of it. The other side of it is kids have always been mean to each other and said mean things, and the fear that social media will make it easier for kids to be mean. Feeling fragile and teaching kids to look for signs of fragility and creating the expectation that if you don't feel happy in a moment, that this is something a doctor can fix, rather than the idea that it's scary to go to a party, it's scary to raise your hand in class, it's scary to say what you think in a group of people. And sometimes the simplest lesson, like it took me like a jillion decades to learn, people may say something nasty to you in public, and then when you turn your back, they may actually agree with what you said or take it on as their own view. So you actually have more influence on people than you think.